Hi, Brittany. Just looking at your logo design here. Um, I like how this kind of sketchiness matches the sketchiness in the logo. I like the differences in your fonts here, the sizing difference and the thickness and style difference are nice. I would say maybe, I think that looks pretty good. I would say with this, you're going to have to outline these obviously eventually. So these are all separate things, which is fine. This is one, okay, one chunk. Okay, so you've got some pieces that are over top. I think I'm using the white arrow tool and pushing shift to get them all selected. I think, let's see. So maybe if I just click on this, let's see. So if I click and drag over all of this, I can get it selected, and then I push shift to get this, maybe with the black arrow, shift on that. This is grouped, ungroup. Okay, I'm going to try again. Click and drag over with the black arrow tool, push shift on this shape, and shift click on those, just to get the extra shapes that you put on. You might have put them in a different layer. You didn't, that's fine. You can potentially put those in a different layer, such as, you could put it in, sketchy lines. I don't know, something like that, like top logo, sketchy lines. If you ever wanted to get those separated, they go on top, just so that they're easily accessible. Eventually you'll probably actually combine the two shapes. So now that they're all in one chunk, I can get them selected pretty easily if I'm in this logo layer. I might have to lock this one so that I can just click and drag over them. And then I think a stroke of maybe 1 or maybe 0.75. Let me see, that's good. Maybe, just maybe, making it a little bit thicker. I don't know, maybe 0.75, maybe 1. 1 might be too much, but I think so that you can make that thicker, this might need to also be extended if you do this. So you have to get the white arrow tool, push shift to open up that anchor point, turn it white, and then bring it up. You might have to make a few adjustments here and there to these, to the anchor points on this shape, just to kind of, because you're going for like an imperfect line. But the only reason I'd make that thicker is so that you can make this just a smidgen thicker, which we'll have to get back on that and unlock it. I'd say this should be, you have it at 1.4 or something, but let's try it at 2. We still want it to be thinner than the other line, obviously. Same one with this one here too. We want this to be closer to 2. Maybe 1.7. Oops, I've got the wrong thing selected. There we go. Maybe closer to 2. This line and this line should definitely be the same thickness. Just so that when you do shrink it down, it doesn't shrink down too far. Another thing with these lines that might be interesting is if you go into the stroke, if you actually click on that word, you can change the profile here, to make it thin and thick, which I don't think is working, but there are options in here on the profile of the stroke, so you can change, like, the thickness, thinness, and maybe you could like just size it up to like 4 or something. It might get too fine right here. I'm not saying I like that, but I just wanted to show you some of the different stroke profiles. You can also find it here, the width profile, when you have your stroke selected. Uniform. But I'd say at least keep it at 2. Another thing you can do is you can add to a stroke. So you can add in here, you can add arrowheads to so on some of these you do have, like this one here actually has a shape there that is good, but you can also add it in here. So I think the end one would be, you could maybe do one like arrow 7, and you know, stretch it out so that you wouldn't have to make the separate shape. So just so you know, those are in there. You wouldn't know they were in there unless you were, you know, shown that. But I mean, the one that you have is fine, but if you want to just switch it over, you can under stroke here, and this is the end, and this would be the starting point, and this is the end point, arrowheads. You can also make your lines dashed here. You can align the strokes differently. You can experiment with some of these. You can make your corners rounded, beveled. You can make the caps on the end of your strokes different shapes. So there's quite a few options with the stroke that you might not be aware of. This might need to be made bigger now that we, you know, changed thickness on our lines a little bit. So it might need to be made bigger. Just to kind of help it to pop out a little bit more. And maybe whatever size you end up changing this to, you might want to like just add it down there. We can use the rotate tool and just rotate that. You can push shift to rotate to get it perfectly straight. Oops, I grabbed my wrong thing here. I'm going to lock this down and then move it down here so that we have the same, you know, shape. I don't know if I accidentally move this. I might have a little bit. This one would be interesting to maybe experiment with a different profile on. Not saying that it would be good, but you could try experimenting with it a little bit if you want to. Anyway, another thing, if we do that, we have to move this down probably a little bit so it's not quite so close. And then maybe one thing we'd want to do is, once you get everything kind of dialed in and looking a little bit more bold, you might want to consider really cleaning up these shapes by joining them all together. So one thing with strokes is we can select them. I'm going to push shift and get all of your strokes selected, and then go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke. So what this does, this would be a last step, but what this does is it makes it a shape. So you can see how it changes it. It actually turns into a shape and not a stroke. And one of the benefits of doing that is, I think this is still stroke. I think it is. So if we did Object, Path, Outline Stroke, and did the same things to everything else that is here, Object, Path, Outline Stroke. So if we can make all shapes out of these things, I'm just making sure that I got everything here. We can click and drag over this whole shape, and I think we could just use the Pathfinder and just unite it. So that's one clean, simple shape. So when you go to change the colors later on, you can very quickly change that as one chunk. And that's one way, that's what I mean by a clean file. Like if you read, you know, we talked about a clean file in the lecture video. That's what I mean, like just a minimum amount of anchor points. We still have quite a few actually in here because of the roughness of this logo, which might present a little bit of a problem when sizing it down, but that's why I tried to make it a little bit thicker, but it's up to you to kind of decide how far you go with that, just to reduce the problems when we size it down. Obviously you can do a little bit better job than I did. I didn't really pay attention to the fine detail, but and then just outlining these, and then you'll have a really nice logo. I mean, one thing you could try if you wanted to is you could, you know, make a shape for the background. You know, you could go, you could keep it, you know, just a black, or you can round the corners really quickly by just grabbing this thing. If you just want to do it on, like, if you just want to round one corner, you push shift and click on it and then just do one. But if you want to do all of them, you just click and start dragging. So if I wanted to round it really quickly, I can do that. let's see, which one am I in? Okay, arrange, send to back, and then let's see, we can do a Command A, and then I can shift on this. Maybe I'll do the text separate from the logo mark, but we could try to see if this would look good. Oops. Let's see if I can get these. I'm going to arrange. I did a quick shortcut command, shift command, right bracket, and then I'm going to double click these and make these white to see what this would look like, kind of reversed out on top of a rounded square shape. I keep getting into the group here, but I'm going to back out. So I mean that's an idea. That might be a little too rounded, so we can always back off. It's not quite fitting on the canvas either, which is an issue, so we definitely need to make sure that this is fitting perfectly on this canvas if we're going to do this. So yeah, and this might be a little close to the top of the shape, so I mean we might need to size it down just a smidge and center it. Obviously you can spend a little bit more time trying to get it centered, but that looks pretty good too. So anyway, you could try it either way. You can leave it without the shape in the background and just make everything black. It's up to you, but just wanted to go over a few options with you. Anyway, this is looking really good, so we'll talk to you later.